Hello, everybody. This is Frank Wolf of WNYAthletics, and I've got Kendyll Jaskier from West Seneca East on the hotline here. Kendyll is a female bowler from West Seneca East. She was on the West Seneca West, West Seneca East girls bowling team. They were a combined team, and she was also a 2020 state qualifier. She was getting ready to go out to Syracuse to play for the state championship, but unfortunately, with the winter season canceling, Kendyll and her teammates had to cancel their plans, and it was heartbreaking for us to deliver that news, and I'm sure it was just as heartbreaking for Kendyll and her teammates to receive that news. And I'm talking with Kendyll today just to catch up with her, and I wanted Western New York to know her story. She had been bowling on the West Seneca team since she was in 7th grade, and as a senior this year, she finally qualified as an individual to go out to states and represent West Seneca. And sadly, that's not going to be able to happen because of this pandemic that we're in right now with the coronavirus. So I do have Kendyll here today. Kendyll, welcome to the welcome to the WNYAthletics hotline. And well, let me first say, very sorry to hear that you had to get this news, and I'm sure it was very disappointing. But why don't we at least introduce who you are and let people know that that this unfortunate event really had a serious effect on someone like yourself who is, as a senior who had been bowling for 6 years for a high school team, finally qualifies for the states, and then they tell you can't go because of this pandemic. What was going through your mind when you received that news?
Definitely heartbreak. I immediately lost it, and I don't really like to show me crying or have people see me crying, but there was no way that I could even hold it in at this point. I was so excited in school, going about my day, ready to finally get on the road, leave for Syracuse. And as soon as I got that text from coach, and my heart completely broke, and I think a lot of our other teammates did too.
So you guys went. Now let's go back a little bit here. You were getting ready to qualify for the states. It was a Thursday. You're out at airport lanes.
Mm-hmm.
You're approached that day. I think when we were talking earlier, you said that you weren't really feeling that well, and you hadn't necessarily qualified for this state event yet. Coming into that sectional finals, you had an average of 195. You had bowled a 267 earlier in the season. Not your high overall, but at least your high this past winter season. You were feeling really good, but you were feeling good about your game, but you weren't feeling healthy that particular day. So just walk us through Thursday morning at airport, walking in and knowing what you needed to do in order to qualify for this opportunity.
Yeah, so Thursday morning, my parents, they left the house before I did because they wanted to get to the lanes, get all my equipment there for me so I didn't have to lug it on the bus and, get seats for them and my entire family. And I had to drive myself to Seneca West to get onto the bus. And I was in the car. It was actually even before I got in the car, I was just feeling extremely queasy. I don't know if it was nerve or something I had maybe eaten, but I knew that I was not feeling well. And unfortunately, I did not end up getting sick, but I definitely felt like I was going to, and I think that it was more so nerves. But me to the point of almost getting sick was definitely taking a toll on me and scaring me because I had an extremely long day ahead of me and knew that I had to perform to my best potential, or else, my senior year could have ended that day.
Yeah. I looked at your morning scores, and Kendyll, you bowled a 215, a 227, and a 217 in the opening set, good for 659. Now, at that point, you were in the running for a top 6 spot, but you weren't necessarily solidified. So you had to have a pretty good afternoon going, and you started off with a 257 in game 4. That was your high game, and then a 234, which was your second highest game. So you really asserted yourself in the afternoon, it looks like here. You
Sure.
rolled off a 686 for a total of 1345, second best individual score that day, only behind Melissa Large, who rolled a 300 for Tonawanda earlier that morning, and then Michaela Passir, who's from Dunkirk, who already had, I believe her team qualified. Dunkirk was going to go out as a small school rep, so she would. Yeah, so you did pretty well. You were a top 3 scorer at the end of the day. You qualified. what did you guys do for the last 2 weeks heading up to the States to prepare for it? Like, what was the schedule like, and how did you guys go about attacking States?
Yeah, we had practice every Tuesday and Thursday, and then the week beforehand, it was Tuesday and Wednesday before states. And we had our lineup because it was obviously we'd be bowling states 3-on-3. So we had our girls on the lanes, put the lanes on. The shot was laid down for what we would be bowling on at states, and through 3 games and just tried to figure out what balls would be best to use, what lines would be best to play, and practice our spare shooting as much as we could.
So you had the oil patterns.
Yes.
Okay. Now it would have been Melissa Large, yourself, Melissa Large from Tonawanda, Brooke Seifert from Cleveland Hill, Sydney Skimmer from Alden, Mackenzie Gilmore from Niagara Falls, and then Emily Bombardier from City Honors. Those were the individual Section 6 state qualifiers. So those 5 girls. Did you know who they were heading into this match? Did you know the girls outside of bowling at all? Okay. All right.
Yeah, for sure. We were all super close.
Okay. And I'm sure, obviously, the news was just as heartbreaking for the other teammates. And the other 2 teams, Dunkirk and Lancaster, those 2 teams qualified as teams, Dunkirk the small and Lancaster the large school. It had to be heartbreaking for everybody.
Yeah, most definitely.
Have you seen those girls since?
I have not. We were all trying to get together like the day after we had heard the news because I don't think really many of us were planning on being in school that next day. But I think with how upset everybody was and everything going on, we all just wanted to take a little bit of time to ourselves. And we were going to plan on doing something, but unfortunately, before we could have the chance to do that, everything had gone into a lockdown and what had been shut down and closed, that we hadn't had a chance to, do anything.
Who delivered the news to you first?
Coach Kaplan had texted all of us in a group chat.
Okay. Did you talk to your athletic director at all? Did she call you guys to just let you know that, this is happening and we're going to change things? Because was it in flux? Was like at first they said you can go with no spectators, or did they just wipe it out completely for bowling?
It was kind of up in the air. There were a lot of conference calls going on a couple days prior to it. So it was definitely up in the air. We didn't really know what was going to happen. And unfortunately, my school district was one of the first districts to ban travel outside of Western New York. So Coach Kaplan had to get on the phone with my athletic director and, talk to them saying that I had states the next day and I couldn't not travel outside of Western New York if I wanted to go compete with my team.
So, Kendyll, I don't want this to be a Debbie Downer interview. I know that there's other things in your life going on that are that help you get a little more excited to pass the time. At least you got a commitment to Medaille. You committed to go there next fall. You're going to bowl there, but you're also going to be studying criminal justice. Talk to us about your decision to go into that field.
Yeah, I was originally going to go into the veterinary technician program, but
you didn't want to deal with dog poop, did you?
Yeah, it might have been that. My love for animals is like really, really, really large. I have 2 dogs at home myself, and I just don't think that I would be able to handle, I wouldn't be able to juggle all the hardships that came with being a veterinary technician, as well as juggling how hard that program is with bowling. And then I finally realized, with school and everything, that criminal justice was so interesting to me and all the fields you could go into and all the different things you can study, that it changed my mind right away.
Very nice. I'm going to ask you some quick questions here. You have 3 seconds in which to answer. Just kidding. What are you listening to in your iPods when you're fooling around practicing, or what's your favorite music? Who are the 3 top? If I was to hit random on your playlist, who's going to come up first, most likely?
Probably Khalid. He's really good. He's one of my relaxing artists. I really like listening to him.
Okay.
Post Malone.
Okay, I've heard of that guy.
And then probably her name's Kalani. She's really good too. She's a powerful artist.
Okay, I know one of the 3. I'm 1 for 3 there. All right, favorite TV shows. What are you watching these days?
Oh, A Million Little Things on TV. Really good show.
That's a
Really good
show?
show.
I thought you said there
Yeah,
was like a million things. Okay, that is one show. All right. Never
it's
heard of it?
amazing. I finished watching All American on Netflix. It's probably one of my favorite series.
Okay.
And there's another show on TV called Good Girls. That one is extremely addicting as well. My mom and I love
I'm 0 for 3. Haven't heard of three of those three shows
it.
before. I'm so out of touch. All right. What do you miss most about school right now? You've been off for over a week. What do you miss the most?
I miss seeing all of my friends, and it's senior year. I want to be able to live out my final years with all my friends and have fun and pep rallies and spirit weeks and, like I said, prom and everything. I want to be able to have those times with my friends, and for senior year it's going to be over in 3 months, and I feel like time's running out for us to enjoy that time together.
Well, Kendyll, I think you have a really special story here. Hopefully, the Buffalo News or one of my good friends at the Sun will stop in and see and be able to tell the community a little bit more about it. I think it's a great story. It does have a little bit of a sad ending, so to speak, in terms of athletics. You don't get to go to Syracuse.
Right.
But you can take comfort knowing that you're still a Section 6 champion. They can't take that away from you, right?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So, Kendall, what are you going to do for the next couple of weeks? What do you got, 2 weeks off or something? Or
Yes.
you're off all the time now, so to speak. Well, are you doing the whole Zoom teaching thing?
Yeah.
Okay. How's that going?
Yesterday. Yeah, they're good. I had one of them yesterday. It's definitely new to adjust to, but I have to just take advantage of our time. I mean, I'm celebrating my birthday tomorrow. I'll be 18.
29,
So
what?
that'll be fun. And I just
Wait a
wanna
second,
be
how
able
old are you
to-
turning tomorrow?
I'll be 18 tomorrow.
Okay, all right.
And I
Very
just want to
nice.
be able to get back on the lanes and practice and train for the upcoming years in college and just be able to go back to school and see all my friends.
So with the 19th birthday, are they doing like one of those drive-by happy birthdays?
18th birthday.
18th birthday, sorry.
I mean, maybe. I'm not really sure what's planned for tomorrow, but I'm sure it'll be something good. My parents and my family always know how to make a positive out of a negative situation.
Very good. Well, Kendall, I want to thank you very much for joining me today on this interview. It was a pleasure having you.
Yeah, thank
I
you
hope
for
to
having
catch
me.
up with you again at some point. Maybe you're bowling at Medallion that we'll get your first 300 game recorded. Who knows?
Yeah, hopefully.
But we do appreciate you coming on with us today on the WNY Athletics Hotline. I'm sure we'll be talking to you again. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.